Friendships are extremely important in life, aren't they? If we have bad friends, of course, this also has irrevocable consequences. But if we're fortunate, and most of us are, we make good friends, not really profound friends, but decent friends as we're going through high school. And many times those friends will change. And if we're fortunate, we make friends that will last for our lifetime. Our parents are truly instrumental in this, aren't they? Because they guide us. They encourage us to go with those people for an evening, nurture friendships there, dissuade us from going there, and they try to grant us a sense of direction. And then if we fail when we're 20 years old or so, then it's on us, isn't it? It's really on us. Our parents usually have done their best. Absolutely. Now, if we don't have a parent, in the United States, for instance, they say that only maybe 20% of young black families actually have a father. Then this means that you don't have that parental guidance. You don't have a father's guidance. So, gosh, look where it leads, The disproportionate amount of young black men are in jail in the United States. And many people say this directly related to the fact that they don't have families, nuclear families, a mother, father functioning this way. The poor mother doing everything to try to support the family, having several jobs. And who raises you? Well, your friends. And many of those friends, in this case, are obviously not good people. When I was going to high school, I had a very good friend, and we played in a band, and I was going to be a superstar, as he was, I'm sure, as well. And when we were in grade 11, he said that we're quitting school, we're going on the road, we're going to be successful. So I went home and I told my mom, I said, Mother, I'm quitting school. And she said absolutely nothing. Then after about 5 minutes, a very, very long time, she began to vibrate, and out of her mouth came this rather screeching voice, You're not quitting school. And she startled me. She scared me. So I didn't quit school, but he did. And he was away from his family, and he fell into a bad relationship, and today he's dead. He didn't become the superstar that he was supposed to have been. Bad friends. Now, I've been blessed with two friends that I'd like to share. One is my friend in Poland, Stanisław Kosz. We've been friends now for over 50 years. We went to university together in Paris when I was 18, turning 19 years old. And he invited me back to Poland. And gosh, I built a relationship with Poland, with Polish since that time. And I still speak Polish, and I still talk to him on a very regular basis. And now with Messenger, it's extremely easy. And really, with me, he's shared the exotic. From him, I probably learned style more than anything, because he comes from a very good family. He went on to marry a lovely girl, had 4 children, businessman, knows a lot of high profile, as they say, political people. Well, wonderful, just wonderful. My life has been totally enriched because of meeting him and his sensitivity to nature and life in general. My other friend was introduced to me by my fiancée, lady who eventually became my wife. And he was English, and he was at the time he was a traveling salesman. He was selling glasses, of all things. And then, of course, eventually he became involved in the stock market, and he introduced me to money, I guess you could say. He introduced me to how money worked, how to play the stock market. And both of these men are still friends of mine, some 50 years later, and both are still alive, because, obviously I'm not young either. But I think to myself, gosh, if I hadn't met these two people, and I've met other people as well, but if I hadn't met these two people, my life would have been much, much poorer for sure. And then I had a bit of a loss as well. I met a friend in Taiwan, and we were friends for about 10 years, and he was from South Africa, and he played music, and he knew art, and he took me to South Africa, showed me all around, and it was really an eye-opener. And then he had a heart attack, and they didn't restart his heart in time, and he got cerebral hypoxia, which means the mind is essentially dead, and he died some 3 months later, and he was gone. He was gone. And I had known him for 10 years, and I felt such a sense of loss because our friendship was really just beginning to blossom more than anything, right? So there we are. Friendship is important because it broadens your world to a very large extent. So I guess the point is, in the age of the internet and these artificial friendships that we seem to make, we must be cautious because friendships will nurture us to become perhaps the man or the woman that we deserve to be, but bad friendships will pull us down into the ground and will destroy us ultimately, right? Socrates always says that we can only do good initially. And I was watching a program today on a group of young people who broke into a jewelry store in San Francisco. 20 of them broke into this jewelry store and smashed and stole and what have you. And I thought to myself, gosh, the alpha male there is certainly leading all those kids astray. Those friendships, whether they're tight or they're loose, are ultimately extremely perilous because they're not going to benefit those people long term, are they? They're certainly not. Because we know that violence and theft and all the rest of it is ultimately not going to assist us. And when you first go to university, that becomes a problem because you want to be cool and you want to be attractive and you want to be associated with clever people and people that are up and coming. And just maybe those people are not good. They look good on the outside, but maybe their methodologies are ultimately bad. They're evil. And you have to know when to walk away, I guess. As painful as it is, you've got to know when to say, oh, gosh, this friendship is absolutely not good for me. I need the higher ground. And even if it means in a way that you're going to be alone, maybe this is an intimate relationship that you think that this person is a wonderful human being and he or she turns out to be no good as a partner. Well, you got to learn to walk away, as painful as it is, because you got to protect you. There's no one like me. There never has been. There never will be. But I can be corrupted on my path. And ultimately, like my friend so many years ago, he married the wrong girl, basically. And that whole relationship pulled him into the ground. So we got to be smart. Yes, we need friends. For sure. But the first person I must be a friend with is me. For sure as well. I must learn to nurture me. With my notebook, talk to me. And then I can have external friendships, because all friendships are external to me with the exception of God, right? I can have a personal friendship with God, for sure. But other people, I can have deep friendships, soulmates, call it whatever you like, but those friendships can go away, and I must learn to retain my self-worth, my self-respect, always. So enjoy your friendships, nurture them. They are necessary and they are wonderful. And you know what they say. Critical thinking is everything, especially if we're going to nurture and find friendships. And critical thinking is great, truly great. You take care. God bless. Bye-bye. Hello, everyone. This is day 3 of our podcast about the El Camino. And today was a struggle, but not as much of a struggle as yesterday. So we woke up early and we had a bit of breakfast and we set off. And today it was hot, probably 35 degrees or so. And by the time we were walking, some of the people had already been sunburnt. Fortunately, we were not. And you had your typical walk. We went up a mountain and down again, so on and so forth. But overall, it was a wonderful day. But what we did experience was friendship. Along the way, we met some really charming, lovely people that shared various things with us, and we shared back. One woman who was sunburnt, we were able to give her some sunscreen. And so I think to myself, and Dave mentioned this to me today, if the world worked on being friendlier to each other, we would probably have a better world, a better society, wouldn't we? So along our trip, we bought some cherries, which were quite excellent, quite lovely, and we walked and met quite a number of people and talked about life. So think to yourself the next time you're alone, think of the friends that you have, the good friends. These are true treasures for sure. And guide yourself and protect yourself and make your journey an interesting one. I'll tell you a little bit about this woman I met. Her name is Anna. We met a daughter and mother. And the daughter's name is Nina. She's studying to be a psychologist. And the mother is a hospital coder, which means that when you get a disease and you go into a hospital, in Australia in this case, she will be told what the disease, she'll be told the disease that you have, and then she will break it down into code. So the World Health Organization knows, let's say, for instance, you have diabetes or some chronic disease like this, it's all encoded. Her job, 100% accuracy. Now you think about this. In life, there are very few jobs wherein you have to be excellent all the time. Maybe the dentist, of course, he has to be 100%, but other jobs you can let it go a little bit. So we're back to Aristotle's dictum. Always excellence. Why not? Why not? So that's what that woman showed us today in her conversation, in her demeanor, and nice woman, born in South Africa and then moved to Australia a little bit later. Immigrant family, right? But thoughtful. So there we are. She created her own career. She went back to school at about 55 to learn this medical coding. In- Incredible. She works 4 days a week in home and in the office rather, excuse me, and 1 day a week at home. So extremely interesting. So you take care. Now to David.
Another thing I'd like to mention with the friendship, when we got to the hostel where we were going to stay, as I was waiting for Leon to finish up in the sleeping area, I went out into the main area as I heard the sound of a guitar. Somebody was playing Blackbird from the Beatles. And as I heard the famous introduction, I thought, I know that song. And it's a guitar. I could immediately feel camaraderie with whomever was playing the music, as I'm also a guitarist. So I go out there, open the door, and lo and behold, it was Pete. Now, who's Pete? Pete's a man from the Philippines whom Leon and I met yesterday on our walk. And he's walking the El Camino with his father, who is about 76, 78 years old. And yesterday, we met up with them along our walk. And it was amazing. It was as if we had known the pair for 20 years. Just the friendliness and just the friendliness was amazing. They gave off a very warm vibe, a friendly vibe. And then when I saw them today at our hostel, again, what a wonderful surprise. And people would be shocked if they knew we had only met them yesterday. Similarly, as Leon and I were checking into this hostel, Leon had mentioned to the woman behind the counter, "Well, I'm from Canada and Dave's from the States, but we both live in Taiwan." And at that moment, the door opens and a couple walk in, and the young man overhears what Leon says. And he says, "Taiwan? You guys live in Taiwan?" "Well, yes. The couple, they are Taiwanese." And again, we felt this instant connection to them since we've lived in Taiwan for so long.
So we're sitting outside after finishing a wonderful dinner. There's a beautiful stream, I guess you would say, meandering down. There's a stone bridge from probably the 12th or 13th century. Idyllic, for sure. So think of friendship, if you will. Think of it, because if we become friendlier, now we're meeting people, of course, for the first time, and some people may say it's feigned or fake, but I don't think so. I think everyone has a common interest, which is to do this religious El Camino walk. So you take care. Thank you.
God bless.
God bless.
Take care.
Take care. Have another day. Have a wonderful day. Bye bye.